Hey folks, Miss Tempe here. Today is Friday, February the 13th, and I'm coming to you from my school during my break time. Today we're going to talk about traveling that I've done since I've been here. So stick around and we'll talk more about where I've had a chance to visit. So this past January, during our winter vacation, I went to Singapore and Malaysia. Yeah, it was wonderful to get away from icy cold, freezing, snowy Korea and head somewhere where I could wear shorts and t-shirts and all kinds of cool clothes, and thus I did. So I headed to Singapore and then to Malaysia for about 10 days with a couple of my friends. So our first stop was Singapore. And I have to say that my flight over was good. It was a fairly short flight, relatively comparing, to me traveling back and forth between Sacramento and like Detroit or whatever. And it was good, I chilled, I relaxed, slept a little bit. And then I arrived in Singapore like in the middle of the day. Now my friends were able to take vacation earlier, so they went the day before. And they had, other people had booked the hotels and stuff. We first started off in Singapore, and one friend had found a pretty decent kind of like hotel in the Geylang area of Singapore. Now, when we got the hotel, we knew that it was in the red light district, but I didn't know it was going to be like this. So I get in the cab and I tell the cab driver like what hotel I'm at, and he looks at me like, "Really? You staying there? Like you do know it's like the red light district with all the lady boys and stuff." And I was like, "Yeah." I was actually kind of excited to see the lady boys. And for those of you who don't know, the lady boys are men who dress up like women and are generally prostitutes. And so we go and we get there, and I'm like, okay, it looks a little sketch, but I've been in some sketchy looking places, especially here in Korea, that actually turn out to be kind of nice. That was not the case. Not the case. So I get there and check in, and then there was an issue with me checking in, which I don't know why, because I paid for the room, so the room was initially in my name, and I just put a note to say, hey, my friend's going to be coming in early, can you just let them check in? Not a problem. But then he had a problem trying to find my name on the thing. I was like, I paid for it. Anyway, so I get up to the room, and Lord have mercy. If we were trying to stay there for more than 2 nights, Tempest would have lost it, because there was like mold all over the place, and it just had that moldy smell. And according to my roommate, the girl I stayed with, she was saying the hot water didn't want to work all the time, and I was just like, oh, thank goodness I did not have that issue. But anyway, we didn't spend much time there. It was really just a place to sleep. So the first day I get there, about 12-ish, whatever, and they have gone. I'm there by myself. Now, did they say where they were going? No. Did they give me a way to contact them? No, because no one decided to buy a cell phone. And I was just like, so I'm just supposed to chill here by myself in the hotel? That's what I ain't gonna do. So I pretty much just went out by myself and walked down to the street or whatever. And first thing I did was buy a cell phone and a SIM card or whatever. And it was super cheap. It was like, altogether, I think I paid $50, and that's including buying a cell phone, and it came with the SIM card, and what else did I come with? Oh, and then you had to buy minutes, because it's a prepaid, so you just buy minutes for it. So I paid like $50 for it, and which I forgot how much that was in like Singaporean dollars or whatever, but it ended up being like $50, not that big of a deal. So I ended up getting the cell phone, and then from there I was like, well, I have a list of things that I want to do, places I want to see, so that's what I'm going to do. So I hopped in a taxi, and the very first place I went was to get a veggie burger. Yes, oh my goodness, I love you, Singapore, because you are such a diverse place, because diversity also means, hey, you understand that different people eat different things. Hence, my ability to eat vegan, not just vegetarian, but vegan food while I was in Singapore. How happy was I? Sister was so happy. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay in Singapore forever. So when I first got there, the first thing I did is I went and I had myself a vegan veggie burger. And it was actually pretty good. Not as great as a Boca burger, but pretty darn good. And so then the next thing I did is I decided, well, hey, I want to go to the Cookie Museum. Now, I am the epitome of the Cookie Monster. Cookies are my favorite dessert of all time. Not ice cream, not cake. No, give me some fresh, baked, warm cookies, and I'm so happy. So I was trying to go to the cookie museum, but because we went during Chinese New Year, which is why, there was vacation time, they did not, she wasn't open, sadly. So I ended up not going to the cookie museum, but I did end up going down to the Esplanade, I still say it wrong, Mall, which is right there on the wharf. And so I was able to walk around there, and it had gotten kind of late, so I didn't really do too much of the shopping in the malls and stuff like that. But what I was able to do is see, I got pictures of the merlion, which is not as big as I thought, but still pretty cool. And I got it at night, so that's so awesome. I got pictures of the merlion. I got pictures of ladies singing. They're so diverse. She sang in English, and I don't know what Indian language she sang in. But she sang in an Indian language, and she was singing in Spanish too, so it was really diverse. And it was all lit up, and then at the end, there was a big Chinese New Year celebration, which I enjoyed very much. So it was like a carnival type thing where you can go in and you can get little trinkets, you can get different types of food. What else do they have? I had corn. I had a cup of corn. They just had corn that they had cooked up, and then they just put salt on it. I was like, no butter for me, just salt. So I basically was walking around eating cups of corn. And what else did I do? Oh, I bought gifts and stuff. I bought a really pretty necklace for my mom and a bag for a friend. So it was a really good time. Now, the only thing that marred it was that the dude I was seeing at the time wasn't there, and I really would have enjoyed spending time with him, being there, or actually having my girlfriends there, because this whole first day I spent by myself. I was just a little bit bummed, but it all worked out being okay. And then I stayed out until after midnight, actually, because they had the huge Chinese New Year fireworks, because it was actually Chinese New Year that day. And so I was super happy to be able to watch the fireworks. And then it got a little hard because it rained. It was raining off and on so bad all day. And so it rained some more. And at this point, there are thousands of people out there trying to get cabs home because the subway has pretty much is about ready to stop. And at this point, I already knew that taxi cab drivers were not very much interested in going to Geylang, because after I had my veggie burger, I got a cab back to the hotel, and it took me like 45 minutes to get a cab. See, in Korea, it's technically against the law for them to not pick you up. In Singapore, clearly that law does not exist, because nobody wanted to, one, stop. And then two, once they stopped and they felt that I was going to Geylang, they was like, oh, no, I can't go there. And I'm like, really? Come on now. So at the end of the fireworks, it was ridiculously crowded. I mean, ridiculously crowded. So there was no way to get a cab. So I'm just walking along trying to get a cab, and then I see a sign for the subway. Never ridden the subway there at this point. So I'm like, okay, I got to try to work out the subway and figure out how to get home. As Providence would have it, my angels were looking out for me, or whatever you want to call it. But this very nice older gentleman, he helped me out. Actually, he helped me, and there was another girl he was helping. So he walked her to the subway stop that she needed to go to, and then he walked me there. Now, I was a little weirded out. I was like, okay, it's an older gentleman that I don't know. It's dark outside. Nobody else is around. Anything could happen to me. But then I stopped and I thought to myself, I'm in Singapore. This ain't America. So you could walk around and talk to people typically, and you'll be okay. And obviously, I still had my wits about me. Because being from Detroit, even though I left when I was a kid, you learn early and you keep those skills with you. So he ended up walking me graciously to the subway station, and told me where to get on and where to get off, and what to ask the people for at the front. So it was really great, especially since he spoke English, and pretty much everyone in Singapore speaks English. So there weren't really any communication issues. So I got on the subway, and I get to my stop, and I'm like, okay, I need to take this bus. And the guy's like, oh, the bus has stopped, but you can walk. And I was like, y'all want me to walk through the red light district at 1 o'clock in the morning? Like, I don't know how I feel about that. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I get there, and I just start walking. I followed his directions, and I walked. And guess what? There was tons of people outside. And I mean tons of people outside. So it was like walking during the day. I didn't really feel scared at all. And then once I really turned a corner to get truly into the Geylang area, it was crowded. Not only were there locals, but there was tons of tourists. Like, I'm pretty sure I was walking with a Japanese lady because I started her talking on her cell phone. I was like, oh, well, we cool. She's walking by herself too. And then I get to the close to where I am. And so the main street is where the actual, I'm thinking these were women. They look like female prostitutes were. And then when I turn the corner to go down to where my hotel is, this is where all the ladyboys are. And I actually kind of enjoyed myself walking amongst the ladyboys because, one, they were courteous. Everybody was mostly courteous. And they were pretty. I was kind of hating. I was like, how come your boobs look better than mine? And I know you ain't got implants. Like, how is this working out? I don't know how I feel about that. But anyway, I finally get back to the hotel, and I had taken the keys, so my poor roommate was up waiting for me to get back. And I was like, well, why didn't you just go ask at the front for them to open the door? But anyway, the only reason I knew they were wanted to get back is because I had called and left a message for them that, hey, this is the cell phone number. Give me a call when you need it. And so that's how that worked out. And so we spent the rest of the time there being big tourists. So you can get bus tours that pretty much will take you around the city. You can hop on and off the bus to go see different places and stuff throughout the city. We did a boat tour, so you go to the boat quay, and you can get a historical tour about how the quay used to look and what it was like, and you actually get to see Singapore because they take you along the river and around a lot of the main part of the island. And it's only like an hour tour, so it was really nice. And then what else did we do? Oh, we went to the I went to a Sikh temple for the first time. That was good. I was introduced to pakoras, and I love pakoras. I've been making pakoras like crazy ever since I went to the temple. And let's see. I went to a Hindu temple, and I got pictures there. I went to a Buddhist temple. So all of these religions and cultures are just kind of melded there. There's an Arab street, which we didn't really get to go to, but we got to see on one of the bus tours. And one last thing. Oh, and then we went to, I guess, like Little India. So there I went and I got a sari. I negotiated for a sari. I got it for like $70. She was trying to charge me like $200-something. And I was like, you have lost your ever-loving mind if you really think that I'm about to pay you $200 for like 3 yards of cloth. It's not silk. I'm pretty sure it's polyester. And they're trying to tell me, oh, it's hand embroidered. I was like, no, it's not. I was like, this right here is machine embroidered. And maybe somebody went by hand and stitched this on with a straight back stitch. Don't play. I know what I'm doing. And so I got it for $70. And then even after I got it for $70 and I felt I paid too much for it then the lady was trying to sell me the service for her to make me an underskirt and make a shirt out of the top of it. And she was going to charge me like another $100-something. I said, no, that's okay. I can sew on my own. I can make it. And they were like, oh, really? You don't know? I was like, no. It's a slip and a half top. I'm cool. I got it. And then they were trying to harass me afterwards to get me to go to other people's places and talk about, oh, you know, she just so undercharged you. She's going to have to pay that difference to the boss. And I was like, that's too bad for her. Y'all need better training then, don't y'all? I'm not paying you all that money. You trying to get over on me on fabric. Trust me, I know. Anyway, so I have a pretty sari. It's black and it has lots of embroidery and stuff on it. I'll show you guys pictures of that later. And so after we did our thing in Singapore, met some other cool people. It's just really interesting the people that you meet who wants to talk and chit chat with you. Ate some good food still. Met some more interesting people. Went up in the Singapore Flyer, which is this it's kind of like a Ferris wheel type thing, but it has like a car in it where tons of people can get in, and then you can go up and you can see all of Singapore from there. And oh, and don't forget, if you have a chance to go to Sentosa Island. Sentosa Island is pretty much a big amusement park. So I went there and I went go-karting for the first time, and that was so much fun on the go-kart track. And then we also took like a chairlift up. So I have some video and stuff of us on the chairlift, which is a little scary because I forgot that I am technically afraid of heights. Yeah, that was so special. So we did that, and I also now have a new skill. I now know how to ride on a, oh Lord, the name of the things and just, Segway, that's what they are. I learned to ride a Segway, so I rode around on the Segway with my friends in this little like trail and path thing. So, you know, did quite a few things that I had never done before when I was there, and I really enjoyed it. And then after that, we took a bus from Singapore to Malaysia to Malacca. So stay tuned. In a little bit, I'll come back and tell you a little bit more about Malacca.